In just a second, I'm going to tell you the two great reasons to homeschool your kids. But first, my name is Britton LaTulip. I am the president of Blue Manor Academy. I'm also the author of Revealing School and the Art of Raising Children for Greatness. So here are two great reasons to homeschool your kids. I realize that this is really the two most important reasons, probably the only reasons that I homeschool my kids. Everybody else is going to talk about bullying and school violence, and they have these horrible sex ed curriculums. That's all the noise around public education. Yeah, those are all things that we don't like. But I started to think about this. If the public school systems were great, meaning they gave you a great education and there was no violence and no bullying and the curriculum was Christian and just everything that most parents don't like about public education was fixed. It was your ideal public school. Would you still homeschool? And the answer is yes. If you washed all that other stuff away and public school was an ideal education model, I would still homeschool. And here's the reason why. Number one, faith. And number two, family. So with faith, obviously today the public education system is pulling a lot of kids away from their faith. Even if it could be fixed, the very environment itself, the nature of it, with all of these kids of different backgrounds, different faiths coming in, you cannot teach one faith. So faith is kind of excluded from public education. It's probably a good thing because there's so many different denomination stuff. It caused a lot of quarrels, and it actually did in the beginning. So faith is something that can't be taught in the public education system by design, unless everybody is kind of one sect, one religion, one denomination. So that's one reason. And if you look at the public school system today, they've done studies. I think the Southern Baptists did a study, I think it was back in maybe the 90s. I'd have to look it up. But they found that 88% of their kids who grew up in the church, graduated high school, were then leaving the faith, leaving the church. 88%. That's like almost a 90% failure rate. Just think about that. Now that was really high, and some of those kids would actually come back maybe in their late 20s or 30s. So it's not like they were lost forever. But if your goal is to raise your kids up in the faith, that's risky, putting your kids in the public school system. I think for homeschoolers, there was another study done. 6% of kids left their faith after being raised in the homeschool. So that's a 94% success rate. If that's one of your goals, is to raise your kids up with your faith. 94 success versus 12% success in the public school system. So that's one reason. The other reason, probably just as important, is family. So even if we designed a Christian school that could, raise up all these kids in the faith, the next one is family. Family is important. You have a genetic connection to your kid. The way that you act, the way that you respond to people, you are connected in a way that nobody else can connect and mentor your kid. Also, there's just the relationship side. I didn't really realize this. So many men are just assumed that they're going to go to work and the wife's going to stay home if anybody stays home, that I just kind of accepted that. And so my wife stayed at home and I went to work, and I was really missing out. And then a few years ago, actually, it's been a while now, but in my late 20s, I was able to quit my job, and we started our own business, and I started, publishing books, and I've been working at home ever since. And I realized, man, I was missing a ton. I barely got to see my kids, and it was only for fun time, but so much of the discipline and mentoring and just the bonding, the relationship, I really feel like I was missing out on. And I'm not trying to discourage other parents who can't stay at home, because for a long time we couldn't either. I had to work. It's something to really think about. I didn't get a lot of access to them. And then if my kids were in public school, even after I got home, they would be in sports, clubs late. They would have homework. I really wouldn't have any time to bond with them. So that's really important. Having a good relationship with your kids and them having a good relationship with you, it's more than education. It's this deep need that we have to connect with our parents and to connect with our kids and our siblings. And so many kids now are growing up and they barely know their siblings. They're almost enemies because they're in different grades, which puts them in different social stratosphere and what's cool and not. So they become kind of like rivals, almost like enemies, until they graduate and join the normal world. And so many parents have this disconnect. They don't even get to experience their kids. Teaching your kid to read and seeing them just absorb it and learn is so valuable, so precious. And you're giving that up to another teacher. That teacher isn't going to value it as much as you, because she's got 30 other kids in the class and she's just trying to get the day done, and it's just chaos. You're going to treasure it if you're sitting there with your kid on your lap and you're just watching him learn and grow and achieve. That's just another thing that I think that even if public schools were great, I'd still homeschool for faith. And then if you could reproduce faith in a private school and do a great job, fine. I'd still homeschool for family. My kids are my best friends. My wife is my best friend. We love hanging out together as a family. And when you get your kids in school and they're in different grades and they have different clubs and different friends, everybody's just dispersed. You lose a lot of that great connection that you have homeschooling. That's just another reason that we homeschool. If you want to know more about how to homeschool your kids, or you want to have more reasons why the public school system is failing kids and it's really set up to fail kids, highly recommend you read Revealing School. We're going to have a free chapter at the end of this for one of those books. And then if you are homeschooling or you want to know more about raising your kid for greatness, as we talk about, check out The Art of Raising Children for Greatness. Start with the first book in the series, Education. I'll talk to you later.